Yeah, Ravi, even I tried calling him. He didn't answer. So probably I think
He's in office. He pinged in the group.
yeah.
He's in office.
Okay.
So last session we were talking about your pipeline as a code, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Let's go to the server. So let's try accessing that. Um, okay. So now let's see an example for that. Okay. Now let's say you want to create a pipeline which will build the packages for you and then also deploy those packages for you. Maven package in this case. Okay. So now you want to automate that. How can you do that? So we'll create a new job. So let's go to this and let's call this as pipeline CI CD. And then we'll call our Maven repo. So this is going to be a GitHub hook trigger, meaning I want to automatically trigger this pipeline. Then is the option, is the option not here, then is the option. Don't show that. Okay. Let me try installing a plugin for this. So install available plugins. We're looking for GitHub. GitHub. GitHub integration. We'll install that. Let me see if that comes up. Go to configure and okay, not this one. So that is still missing. This one. Okay, let me try that one. Okay, let's go back, configure. Okay, it is still not showing it. Okay, in that case, let me try this one. See, now with your pipeline as a code, there are two ways you can work with this. Okay, one is you can write your code, the pipeline as a code within the job itself. You can write it here itself. The other option you have is you can also pull it from your source code management, and that is what we are going to look at. So how do we do that? To do that, you will be basically maintaining a file, and then in that file, you will be writing your code. So here, if you see I have this file called Jenkins file, so this is where you will be defining your instructions. So can you tell me what kind of a pipeline is this? Is this a scripted pipeline or a declarative pipeline?
This declarative, Ravi.
Correct. So we begin with the keyword pipeline. That means it's a declarative pipeline. So what are we doing here? So we are defining our stages. So first stage, we are deleting the existing repo. Then I'm cloning the repo. I am doing a clean on the repo. I'm building the package. I am deleting the old package from my Tomcat, and then I am deploying the new package. This is what I am doing. So again, see, this is nothing but whatever we are doing on the server, we are giving it in the form of a pipeline. And then my
Yeah.
Jenkins will take care of executing it for me. That's all. So I
The
have this. Yeah,
the
sorry.
first method was like boot up script, right? Like which is in AWS.
Not exactly. It is part of your pipeline itself. The difference you will see is that with this, if you want to modify, you'll have to modify in the job. Okay. But if you are maintaining your script in the GitHub, you don't have to touch the job.
Okay.
You just make the change in GitHub and it will automatically trigger your pipeline. Make sense? So you can think of it as you can limit restriction to your job, right? So the users or the developers will have to make their changes in GitHub, and then you can have restricted access to your job. So this can be useful when you have very sensitive job. You don't want anyone to mess around with it. You can use this option. Generally, this is what you will see in projects. So in our case, we are going to use Git. The project URL would be this one. So let me go to the repo and we'll copy this repo and I will give that here. I don't have any credentials for that. And this is going to be my main branch. So this is going to be my main branch and then your script path. So what is the name of the script that you want to execute? So to make sure that this name and the file name in your GitHub matches. Okay, so this is what we are calling. And let me save this and we'll try building this. So see the point is in now instead of creating freestyle jobs, which is a very old way of working, you will see people using this pipeline as a code to create their projects, to automate, to set up their CI/CD pipeline. So here, if you see, starting from here, deleting the old repo, cloning the repo, we are doing a clean, we are doing an install, um, deleting the, I mean, now with the delete step, if you see I'm getting a permission denied error. So for this, we will have to essentially so where do we have that? Okay, so here is my Tomcat. So by default, if you see, this is set to root. Okay, so that is why I'm getting a permission denied error. And this job, this runs as a user Jenkins. Okay, so we will have to update these permissions. So here, if you see, I should be able to see a user. So etc pass wd. You see this user Jenkins. So I'll have to give this user permission to this folder, the Tomcats folder. So let me come here and we'll say chmod plus x, not x, ch own, and we'll give permission to Jenkins on the Tomcat folder, and we'll make it recursive so it is applicable to everything. So now if I see, there's my permission updated, and inside this also you will see my permission is updated, and if I go here also you will see my permission is updated. So essentially what it was trying to do was it was trying to delete this file for us. So let me go ahead and update this so that it will automatically trigger. No, it won't trigger in this case, but we want to delete this file and then copy this to my web apps. So let's commit this. And I think it should automatically trigger. Come on here. Okay, it did not trigger because did my webhooks, yeah, webhooks problem is there. Okay, anyways, that's fine. So I'll go ahead and build this once again. So my second run should start. And again, basically the same steps which we have defined in the pipeline that will start executing one after the other. So this basically this process of having all the steps in the form of a code, we call it as your pipeline as a code. Does that make sense?
Yes, Ravi. Rabi, looks like you're on mute.
I am sorry. Yeah, so the server was not stuck. Maybe, I'm not sure. But I had to stop and start the server once again and just waiting for the service to come up, the Jenkins service. Once that is up, we'll try accessing it. Okay, still waiting. It is still starting. Okay, so that's running. So this, come on. Okay. I'm gonna cancel this and I am gonna build that. Come on, come on, come on, come on. This is very slow here. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna cover this later. Looks like that is wasting our time. So we'll come back. We'll circle back to this at a later point. Okay, but
Sure.
you've understood the concept, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing we have is I'm not going to talk about this. I'm supposed to remove that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a multi-branch pipeline. Now, until now, we have been running your job on one single branch, either your main branch or your master branch. But what if you want to run the jobs for multiple branches? Let's say, for example, you have a feature branch, you have a develop branch, you have a main branch, likewise you have multiple branches, and you want to run the jobs for all the branches simultaneously. So like let's say in feature branch you have some change, feature 2 branch you have some change, feature 3 branch you have some change, and you want to run them simultaneously to save some time. You can make use of your multi-branch pipeline. So the multi-branch pipeline project type enables you to implement different Jenkins files for different branches of the same project. So it could be something like, let's say you have a problem. Now for that one problem, you have three solutions, for example. Now, instead of doing testing it one after the other, you want to test it all at once to see whether it will work or not. So I can push my change to three different branches and I can create three separate jobs at the same time and I can run it to see whether it will work or not. So in your multi-branch pipeline, Jenkins automatically discovers, manages and executes the pipeline for branches, which contains a Jenkins file in the source control. So under this, essentially what happens is you'll be creating a new job and you'll be specifying that it's going to be a multi-branch pipeline. So let's give it a name, multi-branch, and we start filling in the details. Okay. Now the main condition in multi-branch pipeline is that it will only create a job if the branch contains the Jenkins file. If it does not contain a Jenkins file, it will not create a job for us. That's the condition. So let's say this is my multi-branch pipe. So our source is going to be Git. So this is our code. Let me see if this has multiple. Okay, so you can see it has so many branches. So I'll take this repo. I will give the repo. It's a public repo, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So I'm telling it to discover my branches. Okay, and then by mode Jenkins file. So basically, I'm telling go to my GitHub, go to each branch, and look for the script Jenkins file. If you find it, create a job for that branch. If not, leave it. So the moment I click on save, this will start scanning my GitHub repo and it will start scanning each of the branch and it will check if that branch has a Jenkins file or not. So here it will clearly show you that it is checking. So you can see checking branch feature 3. So Jenkins file found, met the criteria, so it will create a job. Now feature 2, Jenkins file found. Feature 3, Jenkins file found. Feature underscore 2, Jenkins file not found, does not meet the criteria. Then checking branch main, Jenkins file found. Likewise, it will check all the branches. Okay, and it will look for the script file that we have specified. And then it will start executing, creating a job for each of our branch. So here, I have main is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 branches. So out of these 8 branches, it has created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs. That means in 2 of the other branches, it was not able to find the Jenkins file. So this way of creating a job for each of your branch, we call it as your multi-branch pipeline. Does that make sense?
Yes, Ravi. So that will trigger all the Jenkins files, right?
Correct. So you can see here, all the jobs are executing simultaneously.
Okay.
The next thing I wanted to talk about was so we have something known as upstream and downstream jobs. Now there might be a case where you have multiple jobs. So let's say you have job 1, job 2, job 3, job 4, job 5, and let's say job 6. So you have multiple jobs. Okay, so you have 6 jobs. Now, let's say you have a requirement wherein you are triggering the jobs. So let's say, job 1, you're deploying it in your dev server. Job 2, you're deploying it in the QA server. Job 3, you're deploying it in the UAT server, and then so on, let's say. Now, if we take, let's say, job 4. So let's say job 1 triggers job 2, job 2 triggers job 3, job 3 triggers job 4, it triggers 5, and then triggers 6. For job 4, this becomes your upstream job, and 5 and 6 becomes your downstream jobs. Okay, so an upstream job is a configured project that triggers a project as of its execution. So an upstream job is a job which triggers a project once it completes the execution. Okay, so a downstream job is a configured project that is triggered as part of an execution of a pipeline. So a downstream project is a project that is triggered as part of the execution process. So this job will get triggered by your job 4. So that's why we call it as your downstream jobs. So upstream and downstream jobs help you configure the sequence of execution for different operations, and hence you can orchestrate the flow of execution. We can configure one or more projects as downstream jobs in pipeline. So how do you configure this? In your job, whatever the job that you're creating, you will find this. If you're doing it in the pipeline as a code, you'll be writing a code for that. But if you're doing it, let's say using a freestyle job, just for the sake of example, let's say you're doing it using the freestyle job. Um, if you want to trigger a job, you will find it in the post build step. Okay, so let me, oh, sorry, go to configure. Again, it has become slower. Sorry, looks like the server capacity is, I mean, I'm using only one CPU core. That might be a problem, but sure. Prokshit, give me 1 minute, Prokshit.
No problem, Ravi. Take your time.
Sorry, Prokshit.
No problem, sir.
Yeah, so this is definitely, I need more resource for this. But, you know, in the configure job, you'll find this option called build projects after and then trigger jobs. So basically you'll see that option. In this case, I think the server is really slow to respond. So basically Jenkins looks like Jenkins needs more capacity. The other thing I can try doing is changing the instance type. So let me try doing that. I'll increase the instance type to see if that will fix the problem for us. So stopping the instance. Okay, let me change this instance type to maybe t2 dot let's go with medium. Yeah, I'll have to pay money for this. So this will give me 2 CPU core and 2 GB of RAM. No, 4 GB of RAM. So if I go with t2 dot small, gives me 1 CPU core and 2 GB RAM. Let me try this one. Hopefully that will fix our problem. And let me start this again. Okay, let's okay, so that's running. That was quick, which is good. Okay. Let's quickly go here. Let's go to configure. Come on, man. Okay. Finally, so here you see this option, build after other projects are built. So basically I'm telling that this job, I'm telling that, hey, build after other projects are built. So when I give this, I can specify. So let's say job 1, then I can say job 2, and then I can say job 3. So what will happen here is job 1. Okay, I don't have jobs, but what will happen here is first job 1, job 2, job 3 will trigger, execute, then my job 4 will get executed. So this becomes my upstream jobs. Likewise here, if I go to the post build actions, you should see here build other projects. So I can specify the job. So like in this case, let's say job 5 and job 6. So this becomes my downstream jobs. So job 4 will execute and then it will trigger my job 5 and job 6. So this is basically your upstream and downstream jobs. So whenever we have multiple jobs, we'll have this upstream and downstream jobs associations. Make sense?
Yes, Rabi. So in how will it be helpful in real-time projects, Rabi?
So this can be useful when you want to have, like, let's say, I can say something like, let's say, so in our case, we have these Slack notifications. So we have created a job which will shoot out Slack notifications. Now, let's say you have a common job. Let's say you have a common job, like in this case, your Slack notification, which is a common job. Okay. And then let's say you have a, okay, sorry, one moment, Prokshit. Okay, sorry, very sorry, Prokshit. So talking about the use case, so let's say you have a common job, like in this case, let's say a notification job. So every time your job completes, you want to send out a notification, right? Then you can make use of this. So something like, let's say, just for the sake of understanding, your job 6 is for your notify, which is send out notification. Now job 1 does a build. Job 2, let's say it builds a Docker image. Job 3, let's say it pushes the Docker image. Let's say job 4 does a deployment. Job 5, let's say it does a test. Okay. Now this becomes a common job for everything. So do a build, shoot out a notification. Build a Docker image, send out a notification. Push the image, send out a notification. Deployment, send out a notification. Testing, send out a notification. Now, instead of putting this notification inside the job, inside of each of the jobs, I can put it in a single job. And then I can start triggering it. So something like, let's say job 1, we will do a build, and then I will say post build. So post build, I'll say job 6. That is, once the job 1, once the build completes, send out a notification. That's where we can make use of this.
Got it, Ravi.
Okay, Prokshit, I'm gonna stop here. My son is little, I don't know, not sure, but he's kind of little upset today, I would say.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stop here. So tomorrow we will look at your notification part, and then we'll look at your master slave, how you can connect multiple machines to your Jenkins. We will look at that as well. Okay.
Sure, Ravi. Sure. Take care.
Thanks, Prokshit.